Coming up on Smart Tech today, I am back. Matthew Casanelli is here, and we've got a lot to talk about. We start out by talking about some new updates in Amazon land, including Alexa getting good at speaking to you when things get a little loud in the room. Then we talk about Philips Hue partnering with Spotify while I try to get that integration set up. We talk about some updates to the Google Assistant, HomeKit, and Samsung can apparently turn off its smart TVs anywhere in the world. All of that plus so much more coming up on Smart Tech Today.
Podcasts you love
from people you trust.
This is Twit.
This episode of Smart Tech Today is brought to you by Udacity. Gain in-demand tech skills in as little as 3 months with Udacity's part-time online tech courses. Visit udacity.com/twit and get 75% off any program with code TWIT75. Limited time offer. Hello, and welcome to Smart Tech Today, where we explain the exciting, dynamic, and sometimes confusing subject that is the Internet of Things. I am back, and I'm also Micah Sargent.
And I am still here, and I'm Matthew Casanelli. How are you doing, Micah?
I am doing well. I am relaxed. I am zen, and I am ready to talk smart tech with you.
Perfect. Nice.
Good.
I'm actually doing really well, too. I feel like I cracked something with my shortcuts system, and so I've been pretty pumped about that. So good energy for today's show.
Ooh. Nice. All right, let's start by talking about Amazon and everybody's favorite virtual assistant. It's Alexa. We love our virtual assistants. The first one is about a new adaptive volume feature that will help Alexa better change the volume of its voice when things are louder. So we've already had a feature that if you whisper to Alexa, it will whisper back to you. But this new feature is a little bit different in that it is specifically for when things are loud. So then it can also get louder and better let you hear what it's saying.
Yeah, this is... I guess it's only US only right now, but you can say turn on adaptive volume and then it'll just speak over things like the dishwasher or other people talking or music playing on another device. I thought that was an interesting one because sometimes that can be an issue. But my first impression is just imagining it like randomly shouting out the notifications over the conversation that you're having. But I can see it's like, I don't want to have to turn up the volume just to be able to hear it. Like I do have that problem with echoes a lot, is that I feel like her voice versus the music's volume it doesn't usually match up. And so I always have to turn it up and down and things like that. So this is actually pretty well done.
Yeah.
I wonder if it does it over its own sound too. Cause I mean, they already dim the sound.
It already does. Yeah.
That's true.
Just
that doesn't make sense.
Ducks the background. But my main concern for this is kind of as you suggested, it is particularly when it is accidentally activated and you're having a conversation and then it starts talking over you, where you're like, I did not say your name. I don't understand why you are activated right now. And then it goes on and on and on about how it can do this or that for you. And you're just going, can you just please be quiet? I didn't say anything to you. Oh, that gets old.
The Verge article also recommends something that I do with shortcuts with HomePods is setting up a custom routine with just the volume controls so that you can have it like turn down at night and turn up at specific times of days. So that's actually so nice. Like I didn't have it set for a while and I was getting really frustrated. I keep doing that thing where I had HomeKit stuff or just home automation stuff set up and then it broke and I've been just dealing with it for like 3 months. And then one day I set it up and it's like, oh yeah, this is really nice.
Oh yeah, I remember how nice this was. It just took me a long time to feel motivated to get back to it.
Exactly.
So this is an interesting piece. Amazon regularly holds a social bot challenge, which is a prize that it gives out for different bots that researchers create that they say promotes research into coherence, context awareness, fluency of response, and other areas fundamental to the future of conversational AI. So the idea here is that it is looking at ways to improve upon our ability to communicate with these devices, with these, virtual reality. It's not virtual reality. Wow, I'm out of practice apparently. With these AI voices and these AI personalities. And the first place team is from Czech Technical University. And it looks like they got an average score of 3.28 with a duration of 14 minutes and 14 seconds of conversation, which is really cool.
Yeah.
See, they were able to hold a conversation with this thing for 14 minutes and 14 seconds, which I remember playing around
on
with
average
these,
too.
There you go, exactly.
Not just once.
I remember playing around with one of these conversational bots early on. I think it might have been last year. It could have been a couple of years ago. And it was an interesting conversation that felt it didn't feel very good. It was just kind of odd. So I am interested how well these things have gone this year.
It says the average time was 12 minutes overall across all of the teams, which is more than double the average from last year. So, in the worst statistical analysis ever, that's like twice as good. And so seems like it could be at least significantly better. I can see what you mean though. It's like, it can be pretty, I don't know, just like stodgy or something like that, but it sounds like they're getting better at it. So that's cool. Just like a 15-minute kind of, like when I just read that, I just imagined my Siri interactions where I'm like sick of it after a couple of seconds or something like that. And, or even just the shortcuts that I make. And it's like, who wants to sit around and do that? But if it can actually pick up on the conversation and keep it going, it's pretty fascinating. So I like the true AI thing going on there.
Yes. For now, at least.
Yeah,
One
exactly.
day it might get too good. And then last but not least is that Amazon is experimenting with live audio, as every single company is. But this could point to some live performances that would be streamed across different devices. So this Input Mag article kind of points to Echo speakers as the place, but it's a partnership specifically with Amazon Music. So I think that it might be more than just these Echo speakers. I think that we might see these live things streamed anywhere you've got Amazon Music. But in any case, Amazon too is experimenting. That is Amazon, also, not Amazon with the number 2. Amazon is experimenting with all of this, and it'll be interesting to see where that goes, because this is actually one area that I think could be good and interesting versus some of the other stuff that they announced at their recent ALEXA event that felt a little bit, it's kind of one of those, okay, we'll see who actually makes use of that.
That's what I was curious about. I was literally just looking through my notes again for the live event. And I was like, wait, didn't they actually just announce this? Like, this is written as if it was a scoop, but maybe this is just kind of the first implementation of live streaming into homes with Echoes. And I think also, like, this seems silly at first, but even last week was, I can't believe we're bringing up Kanye twice on this podcast, but he did a whole live,
This is the second time?
Oh yeah, last week the Donda thing. I like the music stems part, just the hardware. I don't know. Yeah, so
I have nothing to say about that person.
That's fair.
So go ahead.
But just he did a big live listening thing in through Apple Music, and so I could see like that was a situation where if you had an Echo too, you could like tune in and listen. So that, at least as a mechanism, it's something that artists are using, and so now there's a function through the smart speakers as well. So yeah, I am not endorsing anything. I thought it was the product itself. Since you didn't see it, it's like he had he's selling a smart home thing for the album where you can turn down like the drums only using the hardware buttons. And so I thought that was a clever piece of technology, at least. But
yeah, I wonder if you actually need to have, never mind. Anyway, interesting idea. Let's talk about the next thing, because I'm very excited about this. Philips Hue said, you know what we should do? We should partner with a music streaming service, in this case, Spotify, to bring music visualization to our smart lighting in another way, because they do currently offer this with their HDMI sync box. And they also offer some similar functionality through third-party integrations that are, as it's been my experience, not super well done. And so a direct integration between Spotify and your Philips Hue light bulbs, or Signify, which is technically the brand that makes Philips Hue Lights. I think this has the potential to be pretty awesome. That this could be kind of what you would want whenever it comes to doing music visualization. Now, it's supposed to start rolling out as of September 1st. So yesterday, as we're recording this show, and be available to all Hue users within a week of that time. So by September 7th. And then it will become more available and kind of more promoted later on. But right now it's a quote early access feature, but I will definitely, in fact, let me just go ahead. If you want to say any more about this, I'm just going to go ahead and open up my little phone here and see what I can find.
I just think it's awesome. I think, especially because it's available to free users too. I think that's a smart move. It's not part of the paid subscription. So you don't have to just like, I don't know. It's not like you're left out because you're not paying for it, which is nice. But I'm totally jealous. Like, I know that you have the sync, right?
I do. Yeah. But I'm not using it right now. That's a whole other story. But basically, when you use your HomePod as the sound output for your Apple TV, and you use the HDMI sync box, then things can get a little messy. And so I had to reduce some of the plugs and wires essentially to make sure that everything worked how I wanted it to. So yeah, that ended up being kind of a bummer. But I didn't realize it worked on the Mac. I'm gonna set that up. Ooh, sorry, I was just trying to set it up on my phone too, and they say, do you want to use Spotify, the sync box, or your PC or Mac, which is pretty cool. So I might actually have to use that. But definitely part of what's cool about this partnership too is just the line of lights that they announced alongside of it, or not as the same thing, but yes, as they also announced that they're coming out with a bunch of new lights, and they're going to be some that are more cost friendly than I've ever seen Philips Hue be. But of course, the rest of them are definitely not cost.
That's what I was going to say. Wait, which ones are cost? I only see $200 price. No, but
there was an article by Flo recently, Florence Ion, and it included, here we go. Philips Hue wants to put a smart light in every room in your house is the name of the article. And the Infuse ceiling light, it comes in at $30 a piece. And I thought, $30 a piece? That's actually quite a good price. Versus some of the other ones that are listed there, which are like $200 and $300. That's more typical of Philips Hue.
Yeah. Some of the new stuff that they added are like the ambiance light strip, floor and table lamp. Yeah, the ceiling ones. The filament bulbs are now white ambiance. So instead of just like the straight yellow glow, you can have the different, or like throughout the day it can change and things like that, which is nice. And then just in general, they upgraded the other ones so that they're a little bit brighter, or they have brightness variations too. And that's always been the biggest problem. It's just that they weren't that bright. And even though it's like fine for lamp lighting, I think if you need, like even in my office, I know that my lights aren't light enough or aren't bright enough on a daily basis. And so I might actually pick up some of these. What do I do with my old ones though? I have so many. But I like
ongoing struggle.
I forgot the gradient light tube too. I feel like the gradient stuff is super interesting because that just, I mean, it's like any other multicolor light strip type things, but it's, I think, just a lot smoother, and then they can do the sync effect better with it all. So that's pretty cool. It also says that there's like the adhesive to achieve the effect. And so I'm curious what it's like. The light tube thing is weird. It's, you like put it in front of it. And so I don't totally understand. I think I need to see this in action, but they're pretty cool.
I am currently trying to set up the integration just because I wanted to see. It's actually, so for folks who are wanting to check it out, you can go into the Explorer section of your Philips Hue app, and then right there at the top, it says Philips Hue plus Spotify. You tap on that, you set it up, and then you log in with your Philips Hue account and your Spotify account and sort of integrate the two. And then the music can react to your environment. So I'll be giving that a go, seeing what that's like, and whether it can sort of match in terms of the latency. That's the big thing.
Yeah. And it also does run off of the bridge, which I think that probably would help with that situation, which is nice. Just in general, those bridges are proving pretty solid. And I'm curious, just with, it's always interesting now that Matter is delayed. It's interesting to think about products like these, but I do think because of the bridge situation, I feel like you won't be out of luck or anything with, I don't think, I mean, they didn't really mention anything about Thread, I guess, or I didn't actually check for it, but it's still sort of in an ongoing situation. So I just think that's kind of, I feel like weird now that we were kind of saying maybe hold off on some of the cheaper stuff if you are going to upgrade, but now that's going to be a little more delayed. Oh, wait, you know what? Okay. Underneath the newsletter section of the article, I had missed this part about Thread. Wow. Okay. Do you want to take it real quick? Or?
Yeah. So basically, Philips Hue, Signify said, hey, we know Matter is coming. We know it's delayed. And any Philips Hue stuff that you own right now or any that you buy in the future is going to have support for Matter. So
perfect.
You can be very comfortable knowing that your hardware is going to be Matter supported, and you'll be able to use that when the time comes.
Nice. Well, ignore everything I just said. So that's great to know. Like that is, especially just because Hue is like been, at least for me, the staple of the smart home. That is just like a good confidence going forward, and like you don't need to question whether or not you should buy these. So if it makes sense for you.
Yeah. Update. I cannot seem to get it to authenticate with my Spotify account. So that's, oh wait, no, it worked that time. Must have heard me talking about it. Yeah, now it's working. Anyway, again, I'm not going to be able to show that off because then we'd have to play music, and we can't play music because then it'll get pulled and yada, yada, yada. So as much as I want to show all of you out there how it works, I won't be able to on the show. But what I might do is post a story to my Instagram or Snapchat or something, and then you can watch it there at Micah Sargent. Let's move on and to talk about Home Depot, who said, you know what we should do? I think a great thing for us would be to create a smart home app so everybody can download our smart home app and they can finally be happy with one smart home app to rule them all. I don't understand what this is and why this is happening is what I'm getting at, because yes, they might have some products that they are, technically sort of the owners of, the manufacturers of, but we don't need yet another app to try to be the center of the smart home when we've already got that stuff worked out. So all I see is that, somebody goes into Home Depot and they're like, oh, I really want to get into smart home stuff. And then somebody, what do they wear at Home Depot? Is it orange? Somebody in orange vest says, you got to get this app and you got it. And then they get stuck in that and they don't realize that things could be better. That's how I feel about this. I'm curious how you feel about it, because maybe I'm just being very cynical, but it feels like it's just them trying to go, us too, us too.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't have made sense if they didn't have those like giant end aisle sections where they sell smart home stuff. Like they do actually, I think, sell it's for your home. So Home Depot, like in theory, it all makes sense. I think it's, yeah, I mean, just it's kind of like both why and why not at the same time. And so, but that's still either way, not a really good reason to do something like this. I mean, I think their tagline is like for everyone or smart home setup simplified. So this is kind of addressing that issue of just, you have them split all over the place. Or like, I mean, now that I think about it, people who have Google Home and Amazon and Alexa devices don't have a way to have a universal interface for both of them. So this is actually a pretty decent solution in that way. It makes me think of like the Eve app too, of just, do you not like the UI of one of those apps? Here's another one sort of situation.
Yeah.
But even then, I think that what is weird about it is Home Depot is not historically good with people's data. And so not that this is going to, I'm sure, like store your credentials really or anything, but just in terms of like, oh, I'm going to rely on Home Depot for technology solutions is like, you're a retailer, not like a smart home brand. So I don't know. Maybe, I could see them maybe like actually buying some of those companies or something like that in the future, and then this making more sense. But that's just like corporate gameplay at that point or something. So
yeah,
I feel maybe the part about having one space for your Echo device and Google Home solutions might be like actually a decent
but that's
reason,
matter.
But that won't provide one app for it. You'd still need an app. So I'm curious if people are in that situation. Maybe this is a situation where because we have HomeKit and it either you get stuff that works with HomeKit or it's from both platforms, that's less of an issue. I'm not sure. I'd be curious to see if anybody is interested in this. I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess it's very much though, like, why does this exist? Like, it's like, okay, I guess, like
feel free to send us your thoughts on why this is a good idea if you have them. Because as it stands, I just think that it's a company trying to get into this it's so late in the game at this point. And anyway. All right, let's move on. I don't know why I'm getting so bent out of shape about it.
Yeah, you're really mad about this.
Yeah. SimpliSafe, who we should mention has been a sponsor of the Twit network, has added an outdoor camera to its security system. Now, the Verge article includes a finally in that title because SimpliSafe has called its security system a whole home security system. And the Verge is pointing out that outside of your home is also part of your whole home. And so now that they have an outdoor light, that makes sense that they would, that it's a finally kind of thing. It's an IP65, so that's dust and water resistant camera with 1080p resolution with HDR, 140 degree field of view, night vision, with an LED spotlight that's color night vision, and then infrared night vision up to 30 feet thanks to the infrared lights built into it. And so this you can add to your system. It has an 80 decibel siren as well. And
the best part though is that solar panel. There's in the photo in the article, you can have the removable battery charge with the sun. And I was like, oh man, because I just don't want to wire my stuff, and I don't have any way of keeping it plugged in because I probably shorted my power outlet when water went into the cord. But me being dumb aside, this looks interesting because that would just be like, the spot where I needed it is in direct sunlight at all times too. And so if you just never had to change the battery, that's pretty interesting.
Yep.
Nice.
I like that for sure. Definitely like that. There are a few cameras who offer that functionality, and I think that it's a brilliant idea because it saves having to go and charge, because that's what I do with one of mine. Is it's a charging situation, and so every once in a while I have to go out, take it inside, charge it up, and then bring it back out. And if you live in a sunny enough place, you don't even have to worry about that, which is quite nice. All right. These next pieces of information are about Google, including the Google Assistant. And there is a piece that has been shared in our Discord. In fact, before we get to that, let me just do a quick mention for the Twit or the Club Twit Discord.
Totally.
If you'd like to get all of our shows free of ads and also get some other cool things, you should check out Club Twit. For $7 a month, you get access to every Twitch show completely ad-free. You also get access to the Twit Plus bonus feed. This is a feed that has content you're not going to find anywhere else. Outtakes, behind the scenes stuff, content from us that you won't get except via that feed. And our favorite thing, which is access to the members only Discord server, where you can chat with us, hosts and producers, as well as fellow Twit folks and members of Club Twit. $7 a month. You just head to twit.tv/club Twit to check it out. And we thank everybody who is a sponsor in that way of the Twit network, who is supporting us that way. It means a lot to us, and we appreciate you. So if you'd like to join that fun, join that party, and join in that warm feeling in your heart of knowing that you're supporting Twit, twit.tv/club Twit, $7 a month. All right, Matthew, tell us about the Google Assistant and some new phrases.
Yeah, so this is interesting. The people at 9 to 5 Google like to dig into the app development kits that that Google makes for their different features, and one of them is just looking at the new voice shortcuts thing that they're adding, which is kind of like a quick phrase activation that it seems like you'll be able to basically speak to Google Assistant or the specific speaker and use common phrases without ever actually activating it, like set an alarm for 7 a.m. and things like that, which actually makes a ton of sense, because at a certain point, how often are you saying that to something that isn't a smart speaker? Like, it's pretty logical that if you are using these kind of command type requests that you're speaking to an assistant or something like that. And so this isn't actually even like fully available. They have the code word salsa instead of like the actual trigger phrase or whatever they're going to end up using. So it's like, how do you want to set your salsas? So that's pretty good. But I just thought this was an interesting preview, and just Google Assistant making those commands a little bit smarter, because it totally makes sense. Like I said, it's like you only issue those to your smart speaker anyways. So I'm looking forward to trying this out.
Indeed, indubitably. And then also from the Google Assistant, wow, now I've lost my place. What's the next one, Matthew, if you're there?
It's the Daylong Routines. So this one, this is like a new way to basically have a kind of smart day. I don't know. Maybe that's the way they can brand it. But it's instead of setting like 10 different automations for different times of day and then specifying the day. I mean, you can choose the day of week in here, but it's kind of like at 10 a.m. this happens, then this happens. And so this seems like a logical way to kind of build those days of the week when you have something specific happen, or just weekdays, weekends kind of situation. And it's like 8 a.m. the lights turn on, at noon this happens, at 6 p.m. this happens, versus like I felt this when I read this article, because I have a bunch of home automation set up, and I think they're sorted by the number of the time value. So things that are at 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. are next to each other, which just doesn't make any sense. It should be like chronological throughout the day, maybe. Also, like just very simple things of like setting up what you would want to happen all throughout each day suddenly just gets jumbled by the UI. And this also just has more advanced kind of ways that you can trigger things and stuff like that. So I thought this is pretty interesting. Like this is sort of how I think about some of my shortcut stuff in different ways, but just built into the UI and making it easier to set up for Google Assistant users. So I'm jealous here. And I think people should set up and let us know if you have any Daylong routines that you would use.
Heck yeah. Jelly. All right. The next one is all about the new Nest cameras, which currently lack some of the abilities that you would come to expect from these devices. And Google says, hey, these features that you're wanting on the way, just not ready yet. And I then ask, I wonder why they decided to launch it before everything was ready. This includes manual clips and a web portal that would let you gain access to your Nest Cam feed. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's nothing. Those are not available yet, but Google says that they're working on it and that they will be available soon.
I'm curious if this applies to the wired one also, or just because of the Bluetooth or the battery one. Just like Google being like, oh, it's a battery one. We're not going to make that web version where you can just see the feed, because it ultimately means that it needs to kick on and stay on, versus it seems designed to have just like a turn on just when you need it situation. It's
my understanding that the biggest issue is the new Google Home app that is being, instead of being the Nest app, it's the Google Home app now. And so that app does not have all of these extra features that you would get. And I honestly have to say, like, one of my favorite things was being able to go on my computer to the Nest website and be able to look through my Nest Cam if I needed to, versus having to have it be available via an app specifically. And I couldn't use my computer to view it if I wanted to, because what I would do would be having a screen up in the top left corner, a window up in the top left corner of my computer that just had the camera viewing whatever it was I needed to view at the time, if I was waiting for a package or something. And the rest of it was whatever I needed to do on the computer as I was doing it. So that is, I think that's a big honkin' feature that's missing. And I understand where that complaint and question comes from. As far as clips, I feel like that's an okay thing to be, to say, hey, we're working on that. I just think that if you ask me, a web interface is a day one kind of feature.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break before we come back with more. I want to tell you about Udacity, who are bringing you this episode of Smart Tech Today. Udacity offers a unique part-time online education program that's geared for those who are looking to take their technology to the next level with specialized and exciting content. Udacity offers the latest cutting-edge nano degree programs. These are so cool, many of which are not available anywhere else, such as AI, deep learning, flying car and autonomous flight engineer, intro to self-driving cars, machine learning engineer, and robotics software engineer. To create the course content, this is really neat too. Like, listen close. They partner with industry leaders, including Microsoft, Google, IBM, AWS, that's Amazon Web Services, and more, and selects the team leads at these top companies to be the instructors. If you love learning and are always looking to know more new tech stuff, sounds like me, probably sounds like you, well, Udacity is for you. Udacity can help you master the latest tech skills and techniques. There are courses that are project-based with active learning that covers cutting-edge technology and lets you test your knowledge. Homework and projects are reviewed by qualified professionals, so you'll have real human feedback and reviews with access to mentors 24/7. Plus, Udacity's flexible schedules mean you can put in just 5 to 10 hours a week, working at your own pace any time of the day or night, and graduate in as little as 3 months. Did you know that the World Economic Forum estimates that 75 million jobs will be replaced by automated processes within the next 3 years? Well, Udacity prepares its students for the jobs of the future. More than 14 million people in over 240 countries now use Udacity. You can check out their detailed course listings at udacity.com. Once you enroll as a student in a specific course offering, you'll be prompted to view the online course as well as complete a series of projects and support courses. They offer flexible payment options, and you can learn at your own pace and schedule. Oh, and we should also mention that Udacity has some free courses available as well, including one that I'm working through right now, which is the beginner Python course. I started that during my vacation because I'm a big nerd and want to learn Python. And then they've got a secondary, sort of more advanced one that I could take with their flexible payment options, et cetera. I should also say, if your team needs to master cutting edge technologies like data science, AI, and cybersecurity, well, with Udacity for Enterprise, you can upskill your entire workforce with real world project based learning. Be sure to check out the enterprise section of Udacity's website today. Get the in-demand tech skills you need to advance your career. Visit udacity.com/twit and get 75% off any program with the code TWIT75. Folks, this is a limited time offer. 75% off, 3/4 of the price, knocked right off. That's udacity.com/twit and enter TWIT75. These are high quality courses with real humans there to help you out and who are looking at your work. Like, this is the best way to learn one of these skills. You've got to go check it out, and you can get 75% off. TWIT75, udacity.com/twit. Thank you, Udacity, for sponsoring this week's episode of Smart Tech Today and for teaching me Python. Well, I'm in the process, folks. All right, let's move on to talk about HomeKit. You remember VOCOlinc?
Yeah, sort of. I was actually trying to have a conversation with him over email, and so sometime a couple months ago, they kind of stopped responding, and I was like, "Huh, that's weird." And then I saw this story from Apple Insider's podcast saying VOCOlinc is gone, and we've mentioned them on the show a couple of times. But this is a very interesting. This has like many. I actually have like a custom source for this too. Basically, their website is gone. All of their products are out of stock, and they just like stop responding to anybody. But I saw somebody on Twitter who was like, "No, they're not. I've talked to their manufacturer." And here, let me try to find the exact link. But it basically, I'm not sure what happened. Maybe they just kind of ran into a financing situation or something like that and had to basically stop temporarily while they do this kind of stuff. But this person, oh yeah, here it is. Home with Apple is speaking to a European general importer who said that, here, wait, I'll put the link into our Slack so we can pull it up. But he said basically he had a conversation with the CEO back in May talking about Thread. But so maybe they are like pulling things off and we're waiting for Matter. But at least right now, all of their stuff isn't available and they have no kind of support or anything like that. So this is kind of fascinating just because
things that make you go.
It's like, I mean, I was just curious in general with just low cost HomeKit stuff, if they can afford it, or if there was something wrong with their HomeKit certification or something like that. It could create issues. And in many ways, we don't know much about these brands otherwise, but I don't know. I just thought it was fascinating that it was like, wow, they're just entirely gone. Like that guy probably doesn't work there anymore that I was emailing with. And so I was kind of like, these guys like ghosted me. And I wanted a HomeKit purifier because it seemed pretty awesome. So
yeah, that was one of the cool options that VOCOlinc had that we didn't see elsewhere. This is so interesting. I don't know what's going on.
So hopefully we'll see them back. He said Ripple diffuser and new light products like addressable LED strip will be available on the Christmas season. So we'll see, but that kind of does put a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth for the future. So we'll see.
All right. Well, VOCOlinc, if you're out there, let us know. We'd like to know what's going on for sure, directly from you. Eve has announced that the Eve Thermo, which is a UK product for thermostat control, is getting or has enabled Thread support.
Yeah. So I just saw this come through, and I thought people who could take advantage of it would probably want to pick something up like this. And I just didn't even know about it. And of course, it's because it doesn't even exist in the United States. So that makes sense. But I feel like Eve took this year and was like, what if we just update one product every single week? Because they have been consistently in the news. But hey, that's good. They're like the leading contenders for Thread stuff. So I'm all for it. I just recently set mine up again to turn on my fan because it's been hot. So you can see it in the shot over there. That fan back there. Oh, I can't point in a reverse zoom footage, but yeah, it's just got a dial on it, and so I can just trigger Eve to turn it on and the smart plug, which is nice. And I've been thinking more about the energy tracking feature of it and how every single piece of hardware in this office runs from that one outlet over there too. So maybe I should see how much electricity I'm using on a daily basis. But yeah, Eve stuff is great.
All right. Let's see what's next. Oh, Spigen came out with an interesting case to help you track your AirPods Pro with AirTags. I think this is, as ugly as it is, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, it's got like a whole AirTag chunk on the front of it. And in general, their rugged shells are pretty nice. So if you need something like this, you can get it. I will say, though, that the AirPods are getting Find My features, but I haven't in iOS 15, but I haven't actually, maybe I just haven't set it up properly or something, but it's supposed to be able to make noise regardless of whether or not they're like properly connected the way that you would. It's like it'll respond to a Bluetooth signal and make a little noise, whereas pretty much right now the Find My integration doesn't make sense. It's like if you put them in or something, they'll make noise. Like it doesn't ever really do anything. So it is actually pretty nice because AirPods are pretty easy to lose. Like that makes more sense to me than the Apple TV remote cases. So even though let's be real, they kind of look silly to putting an AirTag chunk on the front of your AirPods case.
Yeah, it is a little.
But if you want it,
goofy.
it's only $25. So that's worth the cost of AirPods, losing your AirPods Pro.
All right. Next is yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
Also super cheap remote. The function remote, which I feel like the play on words, I can't tell if it's IOI or 10. Oh, that's okay. Just kidding. In the name, it's the 101. I saw the IO, not on the N. It's like it only works when you look at it, not when you say it. But it's basically a super simple IR remote that works for Apple TV and basically any TV too. But it kind of looks like the Apple TV controls and has the menu button and the power button. Doesn't have a Siri button, which makes sense because it doesn't work with Siri over infrared. That would be amazing. But otherwise, it's like a $29 remote. And I put this in here because my old Apple TV remote in the bedroom is breaking. And I really don't want to buy the really expensive one for it because it's kind of just like not worth it at that point. So I feel like I might actually, like I have a couple other like monitors and things like that I want to try with IR remotes. And this is just like, I mean, if you put it into a category, I don't know, this just looks like remote to me, like the Plato's ideal of a remote.
It screams remote for sure.
It says function on it, and it is for sure just functional. It's not exactly pretty, but it's not terrible too. But it does need line of sight, so that's kind of weird.
That's part of the problem. So the current remote, in order to control the audio without using HDMI CEC, it requires line of sight. And that always gets annoying whenever you're just trying to get it to connect. It doesn't work.
That makes sense. I never run into that, I guess.
Up next, there's been a review of the Nanoleaf Essentials Lightstrips, which of course are thread enabled. And so they feature some great connectivity there if you've got thread in your home. But And not but I was going to say normally with Nanoleaf products, they come at quite the premium. That is not the case here. These ones are quite cost effective, and at $50.
I think I'm still like, this is almost so weird because it's so simple, and it's just like, yeah, these seem great. Like, it's a pretty solid setup. Like, I don't think they have the best app, which I think is pretty common. I still barely know how to use the LifeX app, but I think I have a mental model in my head that I can track over time. But it is like pretty high quality stuff for more affordable. So I almost wonder, this almost feels like a loss leader for the actual Nanoleaf panels. Is it's like people are like, oh, that's pretty sweet. And then you want to get the fancier, cool, more expensive things. So hey, I'll take it. I'm if the corporate strategy benefits the end user like that and in an awesome way, it's like, I'm all for it.
Sorry, I have just remember how we talked before about Amazon key delivery and how great it is because it means that the person delivers the package into your garage. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they cop out on that. And today, the Amazon delivery driver has decided to deliver my package to somebody else's doorstep, which is very annoying and it's distracting me a little bit.
I'm sorry. I did see just on this topic, I saw that they're doing like packaging free stuff in those garages where it's like they can literally just like, instead of putting it all in a giant box, they can just drop it in your garage and then you don't need to.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I kind of like that because I do get a lot of boxes that I'm like, oh man.
Well, let me know if you try it out.
Yeah, I will definitely. Once that option's made available to me, I will. HOOBS, which is the Homebridge out of the box system that is overlaid on top of Homebridge. It got an upgrade to 4, so it's a 4th version of it. And with it come a whole lot of changes and some stuff to make it a lot better. Do you want to tell us about that?
Sure. I think in general, I mean, at first I thought of just because you're not a fan of the paid version, but you can get a version of the software for $30 that you can run on an Arduino and things like that. And just overall, I was like, this seems like a necessary justification for the software in general, of not just being kind of this UI for something else that you can already get through HOOBS. Otherwise, you can like encrypt everything, back it up. They actually have the plugin library built in and ways to like actual certified plugins too, so that you know it'll work. And I think one of the cool things, actually, I'm curious, maybe this doesn't work with the new Nest battery, but they have the ability to do kind of a Nest and Ring cameras in HomeKit and then have a whole dashboard view and things like that. And so I will save it for, I might actually try setting this up at some point on the monitor that I now have in my TV or in my office that I'm going to use with my Chromecast. But that is my project for the week. Oh, and they also have a Mac desktop app, and just in general, there is a Windows app too. So it's free if you already have it, and then otherwise you can sign up on HOOBS' website, which is nice.
All right, let's talk about Electrify America. Electrify America is a sort of system for making America electric, making sure that the EV universe is able to charge their devices. And Electrify America has support for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which will let them better navigate to these different places where they can go and charge their devices. So this is a good option for kind of, because Tesla has its own little network and built-in system for tracking where the next charger is and where the current one is and which ones you can and can't use. And so this is nice that even if you're not, Tesla fam, you can still make sure that you're tracking these devices and get the charge whenever you need to get the charge.
and just like see which ones are open and stuff like that as you're rolling up. I didn't even know about this company, but it is like there's a bunch of stations nearby. I just don't have an electric car, so it seems pretty nice. It's like just the experience through the smart travel apps. I don't even know what you call them, but yeah, nice little update there.
Indubitably. I also just like the idea that, you plug in your device and along with all the other things that pop up in CarPlay or Android Auto, you've got a little tile for your Electrify America, and you can quickly hop over to that and go find the charge up spot. It just feels like you're installing new apps in your car, which is fun. So we sometimes on this show talk about how having internet connected devices can be a bad thing, and that there are some downsides to it. If a company stops supporting something and it requires an online server of some sort, it requires communication with that server, how that can be an issue. And then there are these concerns where maybe there's a kill switch that's out there that they could pull or push. Do you push a kill switch or pull a kill switch? Anyway, flip the kill switch. And maybe that's the name of this episode. Anyway, Samsung apparently can remotely disable any of its TVs worldwide. So if you make a Samsung person angry, say goodbye to your TV. I'm just kidding. That's not true. That's not true. But this is an interesting piece from PC Mag. It's like, hey,
yeah,
if they needed to, they could disable. I wonder if that means that they could do the same with their refrigerators, their washing machines, all of it.
Yeah, it seems to. It's machines? Like it's originated from a story from South Africa where it looks like the goal is to prevent TVs from being stolen. It's like if somebody has stolen your TV and or a TV and it gets reported, they can use the serial and then basically prevent the TV from accessing that stuff. But I think it is just like, wait a second, do these all have this? And the fact that you guys are just doing this is like a weird situation. So I think it might be, there's like it's to prevent people from stealing TVs. It's probably like higher crime or something in those situations that they're dealing with. But I guess on July 11th there was a distribution center that was stolen. So it's like that's why they're like, oh, here's how we prevent this from operating. But everyone else is like, hey, hold on a second, you're doing what? So kind of an odd story, but.
With now that we understand kind of how it works and what it's for. But that's an option that's there. You wonder. Did you know, Matthew, that you could watch a bunch of Pokemon shows on your Nintendo Switch for free?
I did not, but this is actually, I just saw this story and I was like, oh, that's kind of awesome of just making, it fits so perfectly and that you can actually just get a Nintendo TV app and then watch, or Pokemon TV, and then watch all the classic stuff. And so I was asking you beforehand, I was like, were you into Pokemon? And I totally watched these shows like when I was a kid.
I definitely watched the show, and I played some of the games on the Game Boy.
I had the cassette, I think, for the soundtrack or something.
No
like that.
way.
Like,
that's amazing.
Maybe, yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe it was a CD, but I feel like it was something like that. I'd have to, I wonder if I still have it at home.
Oh, if you find that, that's amazing. I wonder if it was ever
the album on my iPod Touch.
Oh, nice.
I wonder if
I want to look it up now. Put
onto an album, like the
streaming services. Album. You can stream live on your Amazon Echo.
Yeah. So while you are playing, and Pokemon TV is also available on Apple TV. I assume it has ads. Is that how it does it for free?
Probably. I think probably not on the Switch though. I think it's kind of just like
that was what Professor Panda said. That it's available on Apple TV, not that. Okay. I was just giving credit to Professor.
I was like Professor Panda. I thought you were talking about Professor Oak from the show, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" What?
Oh, you thought I was making
reference. Named after like tree types. Like
sorry, not Professor Panda Bear, Professor Aspen. All right, and then last but not least, Movies Anywhere is using AI to create lists of the movies you own. So the idea here is that Movies Anywhere is this really cool platform where a bunch of the different kind of publishers got together or store people got together, because sometimes it's just where these are available, not the publishers precisely, and said, hey, we should make it so that people who buy a movie in one place can have that movie anywhere. And let's call it Movies Anywhere. It also applies to TV shows and stuff. And so your library didn't have to just be in one place. And then it would, hopefully reduce the piracy and all that jazz. So at some point, I remember logging in or creating a Movies Anywhere account and then logging into my different places where I've purchased movies, and then syncing that with my Apple library. And then I suddenly have my Movies Anywhere. What Movies Anywhere is doing is it's going, okay, why don't we take the content that you have and give you some new ways to think of it and want to watch it or consume it, depending on which verb you choose to use there. And so this will create some different lists for you. It says Movies Anywhere.
It's like Netflix style. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. The content team classifies the films, and there are around 2,000 different potential categories currently. So you can, say, hey, I like robots and cyborgs. So then you get a list that's robots, cyborgs, and maybe cyberpunk films that you own. I don't have enough movies for this to be of help for me, but for folks who do buy a lot of movies online instead of just sort of watching what's available on the streaming platforms, this is I guess a cool feature if you just want to sort of see what you do have in your library and be able to access it. Yeah, I don't know. Name the last movie, Matthew, that you watched more than twice.
Okay. I mean, what? I've definitely seen many movies more than 2 times before. So maybe you're not a movie person, but I just recently got.
So you're saying that's easy for you? Or are you being sarcastic?
I just watched, what's the Tom Cruise battleship movie? That's obviously not what it is. Greyhound. I just watched that one for the second time. Not Tom Cruise. Wow. Oh my God. Tom Hanks.
Do you mean
Jesus.
the last movie that came out chronologically?
I'm
trying to get what you're
I'm more saying when is the last time
I bought a movie?
that you, when is the last time that you wanted to see a movie again after seeing it once? You
many times, all the time.
See, so for you, that's a thing.
I just
for
watched
me,
Terminator 2.
See, no, I don't do that. That's why I'm confused by this. A movie library for me it doesn't quite make sense because there are only a few movies out there. The Social Network, a movie called Adventureland, not Zombieland, Adventureland.
Is what it is.
I've watched plenty of movies, but once I've seen them, I've seen them. I don't need to see them again. Unless it's a movie that's again, if it's one where I can't grasp everything and by watching it again, I would get more out of it, then absolutely. But my ADHD does not agree with watching a film more than once if I've gotten the value out of it after the first time. For The Social Network, I think it's a masterpiece of cinematography and soundtrack and acting. And yes, exactly. Everything about it. And so that is why I can watch that movie more than one time. And then for Adventureland, I don't know why that movie works for me, but in high school, I used to fall asleep to that movie all the time after having seen it, actually. Then I would just put it on every night. Certain documentaries, maybe that's what it is.
Because I've been, especially in the pandemic, I watched movies all the time. I even do it. I do it when I don't want to work on something. I'll watch.
But you're watching the same one?
Yeah, I'll rewatch a movie that I've seen before so that I can basically not pay attention to it, but also keep doing my stuff.
That's where I listen to music.
Yeah,
I guess that's where I come in with music.
I only listen to music once and then I'm done with it.
You're a lying liar.
I'm just making fun of you.
It's not the same thing.
Maybe you just don't value cinema.
A movie
like
is
I do,
telling a
Micah.
story, and once the story's been told, I don't know why we need
But
to.
you can get multiple things from the same story if you rewatch it
every year.
I mean, yeah,
Okay,
like marathon
Lord of the
stuff
Rings again.
I don't
watch
own
that
a ton
again.
of. Yeah,
So-
I mean,
But like Greyhound, as amazing for me, as amazing as that film might be the first time, I have no desire to watch it again because it's like, okay.
I
get it
didn't
now.
pay for it, so that's total. Like buying a movie is a different story. I mean, I have like.
That's why I do
I
rentals
think I got a lot of
instead
bundle
purchases.
things. Yeah, but like, look, I mean, I have all the Lord of the Rings ones, all the Harry Potter ones, because I do watch those occasionally. I think this is just, I don't have that giant of a list, but I think it just makes sense. Like this is something that Netflix has made popular of just like stylized versions of your own media. And so being able to get this for stuff that you already own, it's like, yeah, totally. Why not? They should actually pass this through the Movies Anywhere system out to those other services too. So then everybody gets it. And then also they can just stick one to Netflix, I guess. But I just recently had to like re-up mine because I think it was trying to not properly authenticate, or like it was going to lose the authentication or something like that. But this is still, as a feature, I feel like this still feels like it's too good to be true. Like, you know what I mean? It's like,
good to be true. Yeah, that they're all playing ball together.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but what you said against piracy does make sense. I will say the last movie I bought was That Thing You Do with Tom Hanks. We were on a Tom Hanks kick a couple of weeks ago.
Apparently.
And it was fantastic. Not Tom Cruise.
Fantastic Tom Hanks kick. Yeah, never a Tom Cruise kick.
I'm pretty
All
sure
right.
my girlfriend would be mad that I said Tom Cruise instead.
You Cruise. All right. Up next, we've got a project to talk about from Matthew, and we'll talk about that in just a second. All right, Matthew, tell us about something you have gotten set up recently.
Well, as I've just recently proven, I like to watch stuff while I work. And I've found it's kind of just been an interesting, especially times when I'm struggling to just get something done that I know isn't that hard, but I just need to spend time on it. I totally throw something on now, and it's a really nice way to watch. I don't know, just kind of like take that part of my brain that is instead getting bored or distracted and just watch that other thing and then keep working. So in the goal of that, and in response to one of my friend's offices closing down, and that she gave me 3 extra monitors for just no reason, because I was like, dibs. I've been trying to set up a TV in my office so that I can like cast stuff over to it and be able to just like watch casually and also listen, which that listening part is an interesting twist into this, because many, especially, I guess it's a TV monitor, but it's not, or I guess it's just a computer monitor. So it's not technically, I'm not even sure actually, but it doesn't have built-in speakers. And so that was kind of my first issue, but also I was just trying to experiment with low cost ways of getting media onto it. And so I have gone with a Chromecast setup because I had one. I don't even know when I got it. I feel like that's what happens with Chromecasts. Is it's just like at some point,
how did this get here?
Yeah, you just acquire
Did that raccoon drag it into my house?
Something like that. But so I think I even was like unplugging HDMIs from the back of my other TV and was like, oh, I have a Chromecast plugged into this TV right now. Like I had no idea. But so I set that up, and just in general, that's been super interesting. But part of it was that I didn't have any audio coming out. And so I needed a way to get the audio out of the TV and just into the space without actually like having any speaker setups, because I don't have computer speakers. I use a HomePod, or just I have a whole just this headphone setup for my podcast and everything. I should get monitors for like my videos technically, but also it's usually fine. I test it in other ways. But one of the things that I just assumed was possible was using my Google Homes, and you just can't cast audio from a Chromecast to a Google Home. And I don't think any TV, I mean, I guess a Nest Hub, it kind of makes sense that you should just use the speakers on it, but I really just wanted to plug in a Chromecast and then have 2 Google Homes and have like an awesome audio setup. And you just can't do that at all, which I thought was really odd. This is just my experience of being an Apple person, not like, I don't know. I just kind of assumed that they would work together like that. But again, total, I probably spent less than $70 at that point instead of like $200 or something. So that's the Apple experience. But since then, I basically was trying to figure out a solution. And then I was like, the Echo Dot has a line out. And then I plugged that in and it doesn't do anything either because it's only a line out. It's not actually a line in either. And then thankfully, somehow, I'm not sure, I should double check which, I think they removed this feature, but I happen to have the specific model of Amazon Echo that has a line in, line out capability. And you have to turn it on. But I basically set that up and now I have got my little audio system. Even what I was saying, like the volume level isn't quite what I want compared to how loud ALEXA is. And so I'm kind of messing around with that. But just using the Chromecast is interesting just because, first of all, I like the Google Photos experience. Like I haven't worked in an office in many years and we used to always have TVs up with like the Google Meet boards and just like photos going by. And so now I have like my own Google Home, like I have on my Nest Hub, I have those photos going on the little monitor next to my desk, which is pretty fun. And then I also use it for YouTube casting, which is awesome. So that's part of why I really like it, is that it gives that, it's the same thing that Chrome has, is the queue, so that when I'm playing videos from my phone to the TV, I can add another video to the queue and then it'll play after that. Amazing feature. Doesn't work on iPhones or iPads at all unless you're casting to a Google product. So I always think that's kind of weird, but that alone was like why I wanted it, because I wanted to queue up videos and watch them. I have an iPad and I do use the picture-in-picture stuff that's available now, and that's really nice too. But I just want to be able to queue up videos and watch them in a row. It's like, I want to watch videos on YouTube. It's crazy how difficult they make it for you sometimes. But so that's been kind of an interesting experience, just queuing up that stuff. It kind of sucks that it loses the queue if you ever disconnect. And I was kind of even trying to, in general, like, maybe this comes through in the recording sometimes, but my neighbors have been doing construction for the last 4 months straight. And I always have to end up throwing on my headphones and I want to wirelessly listen to something too. And I could with an Apple TV and all my AirPods setups, but I couldn't I could do a Bluetooth speaker, I think, to the Chromecast. I guess I could maybe try it to the Echo even, but it seems, I just don't want to be switching constantly. Like the point of this was to be for convenience, not for like, now I have dedicated headphones depending on which device I'm using. But then the one that was really fun, or another one that was fun, was I can cast the Wise camera to it because I have a little Wise cam set up over here, and I don't know why I need to monitor my office, but I had that up on the TV, and I was immediately like, "Ooh, I'm a security guard now!" Like, I loved it, and I was like, I still don't have that outdoor setup for the Wise Cam, and I want to get that too. So then I could pull up my security cameras and monitor everything. And I was like, that's going to be the second monitor. I should put that up above it. And then I have that going. And then the last thing that I was doing that I honestly loved was I threw up Google Analytics. And I have, if you use Chrome, you can just cast a tab to the Chromecast. And so I just had my Google Analytics thing, and I watched somebody sign up for my membership.
Wow.
And I was like,
that's
oh my
scary,
God, that is
also
motivation. Cool. I was like, I need that motivation of just in real time of like seeing these people go through the process, and totally got me into like a whole Google Analytics kick too, of like wanting to just properly set that all up so I can really see it's like, these are the top downloaded shortcuts today and stuff like that. So I was like, ooh, I'm going to get my whole dashboard. Now the HOOBS dashboard thing, I kind of want to set that up and try that all out. So I'm pretty pumped about it. Like I keep going back to like, maybe I should just get an Apple TV though, because then I can just play the YouTube videos and wear my AirPods and listen to them. but I'm enjoying just the experimentation, and like I wouldn't AirPlay my current monitor tab to a Chromecast all day long or something like that, or an Apple TV. That just doesn't seem right. But something about the way that the Chromecast just seems a little simpler it's an interesting thing. So I've been enjoying the experiment, and curious how many other people I'm sure people use Chromecast for YouTube stuff a lot. I've heard people say that to us before, but I'm curious if any listeners have sweet Chromecast setups, or I don't know, security system monitoring or analytics events and things like that all set up. And I got to get and you know what? Now I'm going to make a shortcut to cast my Chrome tab. That's where I got to start integrating it with the iOS technology too.
Yeah, that's actually really awesome. Now, my one concern is that all those displays mean lots of heat. So it'll be great in the winter, but I am worried about how much that is baking you.
It's been cold. I mean, I don't have the TV thing on all the time. In general, thankfully I've got the Mac Mini, so that actually runs pretty cold. But yeah, that's kind of that power monitoring thing that I was mentioning earlier in the show. I should probably pay attention to that a little bit more, but hey, no problems yet. So there's nothing wrong with it, right? Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good.
What can go wrong?
Oh, that's the phrase. All very interesting stuff, and I appreciate you sharing your current setup, and I think that it'll definitely inspire some other folks that you don't have to spend $1 trillion to get one of those like smart displays that can do all this. You can actually do it if you've got an extra monitor or an extra 3 monitors in your case hanging around. Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
I got to figure out what to do with the other monitors, and I have even seen there's I think Casey Neistat is notorious for, in the background of his videos, he would always have like The Godfather playing on loop. And he mentioned the app, and I found the app, but it's somewhere in my notes. And so it's like a way to play movie files, maybe if they're part of your Movies Anywhere collection, on in the background, and just kind of have them constantly going without actually like watching any part of it. It's kind of like a lobby monitor almost, or something like that. So I can put my own YouTube videos up. No, I'm
just
good.
Playing in the background. All right, folks, let's move on to our final segment of the show up next. All right, the final segment of the show, our picks of the week. Matthew Casanelli, tell us about your pick of the week.
I love this app idea. It's called Weather on the Way, and it's a road trip app that tells you the weather on the way to the destination that you're going. So I like the good example. It's just like every time you're driving somewhere, and especially just depending on where you're going, you could be going through completely different weather situations, and you pretty much have no way of knowing that in advance otherwise. And so I actually didn't even realize they have a Mac app too, which is pretty cool. And so you can plan out your whole trip and see weather location or weather. You can see locations along the way and how the weather is changing and stuff like that, and get little radar across the highways that you're driving on and things like that. And so, of course, me being a sucker, they have shortcuts support too. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm into it now. And I think they've got a monthly subscription, but it's $17 a year and $50 a lifetime unlock. So it's a little like more than just the cheapest apps, but it also seems like in a pretty specific situation, this would be really, really helpful. Like truckers or something like that, just knowing that, oh, it's going to be snowing in the pass as you go through. Like I'll use this going up to Oregon every single year. So I think it's a pretty awesome idea.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah, I've like tried to have a whole system of shortcuts to like look at the locations and get the weather and things like that. But I'm totally down for apps that do it for me and then also give me shortcut support for it, which is even better. So nice job. This is a great app.
Very cool. All right. For me, in the world of hearables, I thought it'd be nice to talk about something that won't cost you an arm and a leg, but can be a great addition to anyone's toolkit. It's only going to cost you $9, and you're going to get a whole bunch of them. I'm not sure how many, 50 pairs, 50 pairs of them. That is Max Ultra Soft Foam earplugs made with comfy cush comfort foam. So I joke mostly, but at the same time, these are very handy depending on what kind of what you need to get up to. So if you are in a situation where you need things to get quiet real quick, if you need to focus, or if you are tired of hearing your neighbors, I don't know,
construction,
drilling walls or whatever.
7 a.m. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
That's legal, but I guess it's okay.
Somebody's outside leaf blowing or what have you. These are great. And I think something really important to learn is that folks will sometimes get these wrong. And so they won't quite use them how they're meant to be used. They think that you are supposed to just sort of take this earplug and stick it in your ear, and then that's it. Here's what you want to do. You want to take the earplug and you want to roll it in your fingers back and forth until it makes kind of like a little, I don't know, like a little tube. Yeah. I was going to say worm, but tube is much better. And then you need to understand the typical anatomy of the ear canal, which is that your ear canal is sort of angled upward toward your eye. It's kind of in toward the middle of your head, but also angled forward a little bit towards your eye. And if you take the earplug, once you've got it in its tiny little tube shape, and you sort of, there's a video, you jostle it around in there as you push forward into your ear. What happens is it goes all the way into that ear canal really nicely. Sometimes they'll suggest that you pull on the top of your ear a little bit to help get that fit in there. And then once it's in there, you just hold it for a minute until it starts to get air back inside of it. And then it will sort of form really nice tight seal. The ones that I got, there are 33 decibels of noise reduction. And I mean, you can still hear things, but a lot of the annoying noise ends up being blocked out. So I think that for $9, this is one of the smartest items you can buy to help you whenever if you want to sleep in complete silence, if you need to take a quick nap, or if you just want to zone out for a little while. I think these things are great. And like I said, you get so many of them, you can share them with friends if you want to. Not literally share the ones that you stuck in your ears with friends, please. But
your
share,
face there, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, don't reuse those.
Share the unused ones with friends if you'd like. So that's my pick of the week for this week. And we appreciate you for tuning in and listening to this week's episode of Smart Tech Today. If you have questions for us, you can send those to STT, as simple, 3 letters, STT@twit.tv. And of course, you can check out the show live by going to twit.tv/live every Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 p.m. Pacific, or 20:30 rather UTC. But the best way to get the show, we think, is by subscribing to it, which you can do by going to twit.tv/STT and clicking to subscribe to audio or video and choosing your provider, Pocket Casts, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. We try to be in all those places that you are. So you can subscribe there. And you should definitely follow us. Matthew Castanelli, if folks want to check out the great work you're doing, where do they go to do so?
And you can go to matthewcastanelli.com/Siri shortcuts. So you see my shortcuts catalog, and that includes the library of shortcuts, the action directory, and the membership that I'm running, which is almost at 1 year, which is absolutely fantastic. I really appreciated the support in this last year. So
awesome.
Check it out.
That's great. Almost at 1 year. How far away from 1 year are you?
I think it's the 5th. I don't exactly remember.
The 5th
it was
of
all
September?
kind of a blur when I was launching it. Yeah, so like a couple of days.
I remember it being a blur.
Exactly. I was working very hard, and I'm doing it again. So I'm putting up all of my shortcuts again in a new way. But I've got it fully automated. You have no idea. I literally spent like a full week just doing manual labor that now I will never, ever have to do again. And that is the beauty of automation. No, I'm telling you, I have it. I'm using.
He's confident, folks.
I'm using XML RPC to post directly to WordPress. So thank you, Jason Snell, for showing me how to do that because
nice.
It actually made a huge difference. So
sweet. Awesome. All right. Well, folks, you can follow me at Micah Sargent on many a social media network or head to chihuahua.coffee, CHIHUAHUA.coffee, where I've got links to the places I'm most active, including that QR code for Snapchat, where I might be posting about, no, I forgot. The Philips Hue Spotify syncing stuff later. Nice. And I'll probably post it to Instagram too. So you can head there. And yeah, I think that takes care of it. All that's left is to say good afternoon to our smart assistants. Good afternoon.
Right. Bye. I thought you were going somewhere with that.
I thought I was too. And then I just said, yeah, there it is.
So you got yourself the brand new latest and greatest iPhone or Samsung smartphone because you heard about all of the beautiful photography those things can create. But for some reason, you're just not quite getting it done when you try to make your photos. Or you got yourself a brand new camera because you were interested in getting started in photography, but your little new inexpensive camera still isn't quite cutting it. Well, you need to check out my show, Hands-On Photography, here on Twit. I'm going to show you how to be a better photographer and a better post-processor, and quite frankly, just help you get the most out of that new camera that's either on your phone or the brand new one that you just got for your birthday or gifts or what have you. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So head on over to twit.tv/hop. That's twit.tv/HOP and subscribe today.